Hi guys, hope you guys have been safe and well during this crazy time. Between the lies from government that make you question if they're even on the same planet as us, potholes the size of craters, and now our courts playing gender bingo with our surnames. It's a lot. But let's dive right into this fresh drama from the Constitutional Court. Buckle up because I'm about to break it down and then burn it to a crisp. So, what's the tea? On September 11, 2025, our highest court dropped a bombshell ruling declaring parts of the Births and Deaths Registration Act unconstitutional. Basically, this old apartheid era law, yeah, that relic, let women automatically snag their hubby's surname after marriage, or ditch it post divorce or widowhood. But men, I know. If a dude wanted to take his wife's last name, or even hyphenate like some trendy hipster, he had to beg the Director General at Home Affairs for permission. Bureaucratic red tape, thicker than biltong. The cases that sparked this, picture this. One petitioner, Henry van der Merwe, was denied the right to take a surname of his wife, Jana Jordaan, a romantic gesture to honor her late folks. But no, law said sit down, sir. Another couple, Andreas Nicholas Bormann and Jess Donnelly Boardman, fought for hyphenation rights because why not mash names like a cultural smoothie? The court, in all its wisdom, said the setup discriminates on gender grounds, violating our shiny Constitution's equality clause. Now, men can just waltz in and claim the wife's name without jumping through hoops. Parliament's got 2 years to fix the law, or poof, it's auto equality mode. Sounds progressive, hey? Hold my fat cook. Because this is a sure sign of feminism creeping into our South African soil like invasive weeds, polluting our rich, diverse cultures faster than a Josie taxi in rush hour. We're talking about traditions that have held families together for generations. Clan names, ancestral ties, the whole shebang across Zulu, Sotho, and Afrikaans heritages. In Zulu culture, surnames link straight to royal clans like Dlamini, tying you to kings and warriors. Flip that, and you're erasing the Inkatha of identity. Sotho folks think Mukwena, crocodile clan pride passed down like a family heirloom. Now, some court says, nah, hubby can swap it for a hyphen. And Afrikaans, our Van der Merwe order toys aren't just names. They're echoes of the great track, Voortrekker Badlands, forged in the bushveld. Not some feminist flip-flop from across the Atlantic. This isn't equality, it's cultural erosion, disguised as rights. Our African and Boer norms aren't some outdated app to update. They are the backbone of who we are. Allowing men to ditch their surnames willy-nilly, that's not honoring heritage, that's hitting the delete button on patrilineal pride. And don't just take my word for it. High profile voices are roaring against this. Zolani Makiva, the General Secretary of Contralisa, called the ruling straight up laughable and warned it could unravel the fabric of our families and communities, spitting on African structural norms like it's yesterday's pop.
Well, it's laughable that an African court can come to that conclusion. And it's something that I don't see it being implementable. And any parliament that were to take a decision to make that enforceable would actually be inviting the citizens to collapse that parliament. Look, this ruling is very destructive because what it will do is going to destabilize the families, the communities, and society at large. Because we take cue on the cultural arrangement and structural arrangements of the African society. We think that a ruling of this nature is sowing the seeds of divisions and it's casting aspersions between men and women on a matter which has been looked at in a very narrow way, a narrow perspective and a narrow articulation, which is actually flawed because no woman loses her identity when she is married because at all material times women in an African society are called by their clan name, even when they are married. They never lose their identity. So it's based on falsehoods and non-understanding and miseducation, which you see that it manifests in courts that are employing Roman Dutch laws.
Yeah.
So as Contralesa, we reject this and we're going to challenge it. And we're going to make sure that we engage society at large. And I think time has come for us to realize that what we have called for the longest period of time as the best constitution is beginning to become a beast that is now eating against our own cultural, terms of living.
Then there's Professor Nokuzola Mndende from the Nkamagu Heritage Institute, blasting it as undemocratic and a flat-out dictatorship that ignores our cultural diversity, favoring certain classes and races, while the rest of us from Zulu to Sotho to Afrikaans scratch our heads.
Good evening, Koli and the viewers. It's a pity that the highest court of the land it did not recognize the diversity. I'm not saying they should not have discussed it, but they have not recognized the diversity of this country. Then there are many processes that they've ignored for them to take a decision and instruct Parliament to say, do away with this.
And Nthabeleng Likotsi, the trailblazing businesswoman who owns South Africa's first female-led bank, is sounding the alarm on how this skips crucial cultural ceremonies, risking loss of identity and ancestral connections, especially with illegal foreigners marrying in and swiping names like it's a Black Friday sale. These folks aren't just whining, they are highlighting a real threat to our traditions. If we let this slide, what's next? Redefining Lobola as a group chat decision? The implications? Massive. This ruling doesn't just tweak names, it pokes holes in the cultural dam, holding back a flood of identity crises. In Zulu, Xhosa, Sotho, or our sturdy Afrikaans roots, surnames aren't just fashion accessories, they're links to ancestors, clans, and community. Polluting that with feminist agendas? It's like adding pineapple to pizza, but way worse. Because now our kids might grow up confused about where they come from. Is that a Zulu warrior bloodline or just some hyphenated hashtag? Tradition isn't the enemy, it's the glue. And hey, speaking of Zulu vibes, if a husband takes his wife's surname, does that mean she's gonna pay him Lobola now? Talk about flipping the script. Next thing you know, he'll be demanding 11 cows and a PlayStation. And seriously, if we're hyphenating names now, what's stopping a Van der Merwe from becoming a Van der Merwe, Mokoena, Dlamini? Imagine trying to fit that on an ID book. It'll need its own scroll like a groot track family tree. Alright, folks, so that's my roast on this whole surname saga. If you are as fired up as me, hit that like button, subscribe for more. No holds barred takes on SA drama, and drop a comment. Should men stick to their surnames? Or is this progress worth the cultural cost? I'll chat to you guys in the next one. Stay safe, stay traditional.